What it do? It's DOA niggas back with another episode of putting shit together. I'm here with the hookah tonight, man, and I got my partner in Shine over here off the camera. We about to have a little content dropping for y'all here soon. Probably do it another page on another little page, but when I do, y'all know I'm gonna let the League of Shadows know first. So y'all can check that out. But yeah, man, today as promised, we gonna be going over some of the items you would need in the event that shit hit the fan. You know what I'm saying? Since we was covering some of that gematria and that US or Israeli or Iran war and all that theater they got going on right now, and I told y'all, man, to be on the lookout because they might be trying to cut the power on us out here. You know what I'm saying? In the near future, the way the numbers was lining up, it almost seemed like they got some type of planned power outage, probably to accommodate this war theater that they got going on. So with that being said, I felt like, I'm gonna let the league know first off what we need to be getting so that we are prepared and not scared in the event of those happening. So um for many years, man, shit, like a decade, I've been having the Latter Day Saints preparedness Bible. I think that's what they call it. From the Latter Day Saints, y'all know the Mormons, man, out there, Utah, BYU, all that bullshit. Y'all know I don't really rock with them because the Mormons is who's keeping the catalog of everybody's DNA. They got the information on who the Aboriginal American lineages is, and they keeping them under wraps in a vault. So I don't really rock with them. I don't really support them. But this is the one thing that I get from them because they in their religion they feel like they the chosen people and they're always prepared for a fallout. So I will give credit where credit is due. They put a real extensive, very informative list together of supplies you might need in the event of a fallout. And since it's so extensive, we're going to break this down into pieces over many videos. They got these supplies listed in order of priority. So today we're going to go over the top priority items, and then we'll break that down even in the smaller categories as far as food, water, shelter, those different categories of supplies. And then we'll also I'll let y'all see some of my survival gear, like my bug out bags, things of that nature, so y'all can see how to set this up, go about keeping and organizing some of your items and all of that. So without further ado, man, we just gonna go down a list and talk on it briefly. I'll post some pictures and let y'all know, um, give y'all some ideas of what you should be looking for when you going to acquire these items or just collect them, because some of them you might have in your household already. But we gonna start off right here. They say a non-electric washing machine. So, of course, we know you want to be able to stay clean because they say what really breaks people down in these disaster type situations is that they're not able to keep your same level of cleanliness up as far as, washing yourself, washing your clothes, shaving, etc., etc. And that's a morale booster, or it could be what brings the morale down in the event that you're not prepared. So, you're not feeling like yourself. Everybody can relate to that. When you're not clean and you just start, your mood kind of drops until you get that shower up in you, get some clean clothes, etc. So this is an important one. The non-electric washing machine. It's a bunch of different styles you could get. It's simple as having a bucket with an agitator stick that you might be able to make yourself. Get a nice size bucket and be able to put that stick in there and agitate your clothes like a mechanical washing machine would do. So we got that. Number one, this is in the clothing section because this is broken down in the section. So that's the high priority in the clothing section. They also have a stove iron on the number one priority list. Now, I would say, I could kind of see that. I would say that's kind of a toss up as far as it being the number one priority, because I don't know that I'm going to be trying to get a nice crease going and all that. I ain't trying to crease my dickies necessarily when the fallout happens. But, if you're a person that do like to stay very crisp and wrinkle free and all of that, then a stove iron is definitely one that you gonna want to get. And that's a non-electric iron. That's one of them old school what your granny had, where it's really made out of iron. You heat it up over a fire, you know what I'm saying? And then you able to get that crease going, knock them wrinkles out. So after that, we got the washboard. So the washboard kind of go with the non-electric washing machine as well. Get you a washboard and that'll suffice too. Do it like your granny used to do, you know what I'm saying? Or your great granny used to do, and scrub them clothes off that washboard, get them real clean, get them real crispy. You know what I'm saying? Along with that, they got the wash tub, because you definitely gonna need that. Gonna be able to soak them clothes in the wash tub, then run them down that washboard, old school style, and go ahead and knock that stench up off of there. You know what I'm saying? So those are the number one priorities out of the clothing section. Now we go down to communications. The number one down here, hand cranked radio. And some of y'all might not even really know what that is, but I do. I own one. So when we go into the other videos where I'm showing y'all some of my stuff, I'll actually show you the kind that I have. I think it's made by E-Tone. E-Tone is the ETON, if I'm not mistaken. But that's the brand of the one that I have. And it's got a solar panel across the top as well. But then it's got that crank. You pull it out and then you can wind it up, which is going to be like a hand crank generator. And it's going to give you the power that you need to go ahead and pick up on a, emergency station, radio station, whatever the case may be, where you can get that news that you might need during the fallout. So then, along with that, they got the shortwave radio. So your shortwave radios is gonna be kind of like, your walkie-talkies type situation where you can get some communication going. Might at the radio down to one of your neighbors, or a neighbor far off, or whatever the case may be. If you got they might have what you call it, first responders or something you might be able to get in contact with or whatever. So that's kind of self-explanatory. They got a section for documents, and they all is kind of on a high priority, just as far as like, bank account numbers, uh, birth certificates, death certificates, account numbers, all this shit, passports, social security numbers, that type of shit. So, it's a toss up of whether that's going to be a real high priority in my book, but always be aware of that. Kind of keep your documents together. If you're already doing that, a lot of us is already doing that. So just being able to get to the folder that you might have that's got those important documents in it is going to be, a big thing that you want to be able to get your hands on in that type of situation. Now, of course, in the spirit of the Latter-day Saints, they got the Bible as a high priority. And I would second that too. The Bible, that's a good thing to have. A lot of us gonna go to that for some wisdom, some knowledge. Y'all seen that movie Book of Eli, and the fallout. That's what they was hunting down, was Bibles, trying to get their hands on a Bible, because the Bible is a powerful book. We all know that, so I can second that one. Um, This is the entertainment and education section, just because I didn't say that earlier. And the Bible was in that. Then you got how to books. That's a high priority how to book. So a lot of us, we rely on the internet, YouTube University, and all of that to get directions and instructions on doing things that we might not have attributed to memory, that we need help doing in a DIY type of situation. So you want to have those how to books, as many as you can, for real. I would suggest. Um, I keep a book called a Survival Bible on my bookcase. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's gonna be a good one, because it's telling you a lot of different things about whether it be setting a fire, how to build a shelter real quick out of nothing, um, skinning an animal, field dressing an animal. This is all things that a lot of us might not have attributed to memory, that you gonna want to know how to get that shit done. You know what I'm saying? And any other how to books that you might think is gonna be of importance to you in the case, in the instance where you don't have access to the internet. So you gonna want that. That's even cookbooks or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So keep those on deck. How to books. Next, they got reference books, which kind of go hand in hand. But reference books, that could be a shit, anything really, from an encyclopedia on up to a specific reference books on how to frame a house or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want those reference books, because we won't have access to this good old internet. So you're going to want to have as much of that as you can to expand your knowledge base in the event that that internet is down. So we flipped through. I'll just tell y'all what the next section was that didn't have any number one priorities in it. But first aid supplies surprisingly don't have any number one priorities listed in it. But hey, I would just say to have a first aid kit in general, and that would be a high priority to me. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of twos and some threes in here, but I would just say, get you a first aid kit, and that's a good start, and just a great thing to fall back on in the event of the fallout. So then we got first aid perishables section, and within this they got prescriptions listed as a high priority. So that's self-explanatory. If you got some prescriptions that you need, now you definitely want to have those, have a little supply of those in the event that you can't get to a pharmacy or a doctor or whatever. You want to go and have your little prescriptions on deck. That could even be as simple as contacts. If you wearing contacts or something like that, glasses, um, keep that on deck, because you don't want to be out here you relying on contacts and shit you can't see when the damn fallout happens. You never know how long an emergency situation can last. So all those good prescriptions that you need to live off of, go ahead and have those on deck. You know what I'm saying? And I'll just add to that some over the counters, as far as like pain medicines and stuff like that. You want to have at least a decent little supply of those. You know what I'm saying? Just in case something happen. So the next is gonna be food preparation section, and they got crock pot, a large crock pot listed. Now, I would say, we used to having those electric plug-in crock pots. So I would definitely say have one, but in the event that all you got is those electric types, I would go ahead and say to have you a Dutch oven, if possible. And that's gonna be your cast iron, usually your cast iron Dutch oven where you can sit that cast iron right on a fire in the event that you don't have electricity. So you can cook in that Dutch oven similar to a crock pot as well. Put that on the fire, let that joint simmer. Throw you something up in there, get you a nice little meal up out of there. Throw that chicken in there with the water. Go on, whip that broth up. Get you some, throw a cup of rice in there, cause you know that rice is high on the list of two halves as far as foods go. And go in, throw that rice, get you a chicken, something like that, whip something up, or even if you got all vegetables or something, throw that on that low simmer on that Dutch oven. You know what I'm saying? That's a good one to have. And I just say while we there, as far as that goes, man, cast iron, um, cookware is I would say definitely have that cast iron because you can always throw that directly on a fire. Some of these fancy non-stick Teflon, whatever's that we all kind of get used to having in our kitchen, they not really gonna hold up over a raw fire. You know what I'm saying? So that cast iron, man, you can do a lot with that. It's easy, clean. A nice even cook and all of that, and you don't have to worry about it not holding up when you gotta use it over a real campfire. So you got that. Then going along with that, you got the fire grate. Fire grate, number one priority. And that's so that when you do have to set that outdoor fire to cook on, you want to have that metal grate you can put over the top where you can sit your pans on top of it, so you don't have to worry about trying to sit that directly on your fire, or make a balancing act type situation to hold your pots up. So I have a fire grate. I actually got one right off the camera that I'm looking at right now, but we'll go into it. I'll probably post one on screen so y'all could just see what it look like. And even if you just got some grill grates out of your grill or something like that, like same type of concept, you definitely want to have access to something like that that can withstand the open flame and then to hold up your cookware. So fire grate, we got that. The fireplace insert, it's kind of like the same thing, something you can put inside of a house fireplace that can be cooked on. You know what I'm saying? So we got that fireplace insert. Then we got the hand cranked grain mill. This is a good one too, man, because we're not really used to having to mill our own grains and stuff like that, and process those grains like that. So you definitely want to have that in the event. You might be a guard. Probably if you growing some type of grains right now, you probably got this already. But if you don't, you might have an electric version or no version at all. But if you in any of those two scenarios, you definitely want to get you a hand crank one so you could do that shit old school. Might have that corn, that dried corn. Go ahead and mill that up to some cornmeal, get some shit done. Have some wheat or something like that. You know what I'm saying? All those, the oats or whatever the case may be, where you can grind that up and take that to a different form, so you have some options as far as cooking goes. So we got that hand crank grain mill. Let me see what else we got up in there. I think that was it right there. I don't know why they didn't list the meat grinder hand cranked, but I would say those two things kind of go along with each other. Have that meat grinder that's hand cranked. So, you get your hands on some meat. You might want to make sausage. You might want to ground some beef or anything like that. Want to have access to that hand crank version. But going down to food storage got the most number one priority things out of all these categories. And I'll go through these a little quick. You got baskets and crates. You know what I'm saying? Them can be like milk crates from the grocery store. And if you don't have any, man, you can always go to your groceries and ask them to give you some of theirs. They always got ones that might be slightly cracked, or they just use them a lot and they not putting them in rotation anymore. So you can usually get access to some crates. You know what I'm saying? So we got the crates, even the wooden ones, if you can get access to those. So baskets and crates, we got boiling canner, the boiling canner. A lot of y'all might not know what that is. I'm gonna post a picture though, and then we'll go into this in depth in its own video. We got the bucket opener, the canning book. That's kind of one of them reference books for you. Got the canning jars, canning lids, canning salt, canning supplies, miscellaneous, canning utensils, the colander, the desiccants. Desiccants be those things you might get them in a shoebox where they take the moisture out of your little atmosphere or whatever and take the moisture out so things can be preserved for longer. So that's desiccants. Then we got food storage buckets. And you want to make sure those is food grade if at all possible, because you don't want the kind of buckets, plastic buckets that can leach that plastic into the foods that you might be preserving. So yeah, get you some food grade storage buckets. The jar lifter that goes along with the canning supplies, and we'll go over that. Like I said, jars, mason jars got lids on there, mesh bags, oxygen absorbers, paraffin wax, pressure canner, saucepan, sauce pot, scale, the timer, water storage, and the 10 5-gallon buckets, and water storage 55-gallon. I got a couple different water storage containers. Got the rolling ones and shit like that. But yeah, man, we'll go over that too when will do a video on water, all the water needs by itself. So we'll cover some of those different ones when we do that. Now going to the next section, fuel and power. Fuel and power. First thing with the first priority is a barrel, a 55-gallon barrel. 55-gallon barrel, right? So you could store some fuel type shit. Then we got charcoal. That's self-explanatory. You could use that always. Fire source, grilling, whatever the case may be. Charcoal is definitely a good one. And I keep activated charcoal too, which is something you can use to detox in different events, and you can use it to purify water as well. So charcoal's a good one. Got fire starters in there, and there's a bunch of different kind of fire starters you could get. We'll cover that in its own video as well. Then we got a fuel pump, and a fuel pump's gonna be like a fuel exchanger where you could siphon fuel from one place and spout it out to another place. So we'll cover that as well in that video. Then we got matches, self-explanatory. Get as many of those as you can. Stable. Stable is a fuel additive that lets you be able to store fuel for large amounts of time without the fuel going bad. Stable. That's a name brand product in itself. Then we got starter fluid. Self-explanatory as well. Starter fluid. So the next section is gardening. Let me flip this page real quick, see what we got. Gardening, non-hybrid seeds. So my suggestion is to try to get the heirloom seeds if all possible. These is the ones that have not been genetically engineered. These is your original original species of vegetation. You know what I'm saying? Unaltered. That's the heirloom seeds. But at worst case, you want to get the organic. You know what I'm saying? Ones that Monsanto ain't put they little magic spell on already, where they a non-seed producing and all these cooked in pesticides already. So you want to get your hands on some of them type of seeds. Um, they got soil testing equipment on here as well, and that's gonna be able to tell you what the pH of a soil is, so you know what you can grow in it. If the soil is good to be able to grow what you need to grow in it, so soil testing equipment, that's a good thing to have. Now we in the hardware and building supplies. Hardware and building supplies. Within this, we got surprisingly no first priority things in hardware and building supplies. But you know, if you got your hands on some tools, hammer, whatever, screwdrivers, all of that, keep that shit tight. You want to know where that is, I would say. You know what I'm saying? Um, then we go down to household items. We got batteries in there, all the different kind of batteries. Then we got blankets in there. Now, you already know blankets. Definitely want to have some of those. And I would also suggest getting those emergency blankets that you can find in like a camping section where it looks like foil, looks like sheets of foil. But them emergency blankets can hold in and generate a lot of heat in an emergency type of situation. If you know your weather's real cold, frigid temps, that can really save your life. You know what I'm saying? So blankets, emergency blankets, I would say. Then we go down to candles. You want some 10-hour candles and some 36-hour candles and some 100-hour candles, and that's liquid paraffin. So it's a couple different types of assortments of those candles that you can get. The longer burning ones, the better, but you also want to have, you know, some tea light candles even. You can get those in a big pack for cheap. So keep them candles on deck. Let's see what we got. Kerosene heater, a kerosene heater. So that's, you know, so you can heat some shit up with just the kerosene, or even a propane heater. Then you got kerosene lamps, like back in the day type lamps, put that fluid in there, you know what I'm saying? And them can burn for a real long time. And eventually you ain't got no flashlight or your batteries is gone. Kerosene lamp wicks also. So some wicks you can change out in these kerosene lamps. Keep that shit going for as long as possible. Then we got sleeping bags, a sleeping bag mattress pads as well. So that'll help you out if you gotta sleep on the ground. Get that mattress pad, drop that on the ground, and you know you feel like you in that Tempur-Pedic damn near. You feel me? So definitely want to get those. Then walkie talkies, self-explanatory. You want to have that for you can even communicate with the members of your family or your little survival group. You know what I'm saying? And the event y'all gotta split up, go get some work done, have them walkie talkies and stay in communication with each other. So then we got infant supplies is the next section. And pretty much all of these within the infant supplies are marked as a number one priority. Now, that's kind of self explanatory, but I might cover it in a different video. So I don't have to go through all of these right now in this one. But, you know, if you got an infant, you're going to want to be stocked up on the things that you need for your baby. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of self explanatory in itself. Then also, even if you don't have a baby, if you got some of these supplies or the ability to stock some of them up, they could probably have a high trade value for somebody who might not have been as prepared as you, who actually does have an infant or a young child. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to think about too. Then we got the miscellaneous section. It says a book on using a compass. Now I go back to what I said before with that survival Bible. If you got a survival manual or anything like that, it's sure to have a section in it about how to properly use a compass, as far as navigating goes. So definitely want to have that. And as well, you want to have a compass itself, so you got the ability to use that knowledge. And then we got knives. Definitely want to have knives in a few different types, if you ask me. I'm a weapons dude, so I swear by them knives. You're going to need that for a myriad of different things, just from constructing shit to, of course, defense to, cooking. I mean, a knife got a million different applications, and it's a million different types of knives on top of it. Night vision scope is number one in this miscellaneous as well. That's kind of self-explanatory, but that can get you out of a jam. The ability to to view in the dark. So that night vision scope. We got a safe on there at the number one. Something you can keep those valuables in and lock them up. In the event you got to leave some shit somewhere, you want to have it locked up and you know, safe, out of harm's way. So a safe is definitely a good one. Then we got cash, gold, and silver. And that's kind of self-explanatory. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't know how important cash will be in some different scenarios of survival. It might not, cash might be to wipe your ass with, you know what I'm saying? If the right kind of fallout occurs, but I would definitely say keep some on deck. Gold and silver, that's self-explanatory. Um, then we go down to personal toiletries. Within that, we got a solar shower being a number one priority. Solar shower, I got a couple of them, so I'll show them to you in a different video. But it's basically you can fill up this bag with water and you could sit it out in the sun, and that water will raise up to damn near boiling temperatures within this bag. It's like a black bag and shit. It conducts a lot of sunlight, so you can heat it up, and then it's got this shower spout, so you hang it on something hot and you open up that spout and you could take a shower with some nice warm water. That's how that solar shower works. And let me see, got here. Um, then we in security supplies. Within that, we got a gun safe. So that kind of go along with the safe, gun safe. Guns and ammo being on the number one as well. And that's kind of self-explanatory. That can help you hunt. That can be personal defense, uh, etc. But I would never suggest to trade your guns. Don't trade your guns. Don't trade your ammo. Keep them things at all costs. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna do a lot of videos on guns moving here in the near future. Like I told y'all, I gotta take care of a couple things, get my gun rights back in order, and then shit, we gonna really take off. You know what I'm saying? As far as this content goes. But then we got within tools, we got the generator. The generator, that's self-explanatory. A way to provide power, whether that be a backup generator to your home or just one of those portable type generators. You're going to want to have that in the event, you might need to charge something up. You might need to run something off some electricity, have you a generator and some gasoline, and you good to go. Then we got, that was it. That was all the number ones within that. Now we in the transportation section. Within that, there was no number one priorities within the transportation. Then we go to the water section, being the last section. And within that, we got water filter. So you want to have a way to filter that water, because you not probably gonna be getting no fresh city water from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And not everybody got a spring nearby or anything like that. So you want to have an ability to take some not so clean water and turn it into some drinkable type water. So that's gonna start with the water filter replacement cartridges. So, that's we'll cover some of those different options that you got for water filters and water uh filter replacement cartridges as well. But I'll also show y'all how to filter some water out of some rudimentary tools as far as like sand, rocks, and charcoal go to clean up some water. Then we got the water pump. So the ability to pump some water out of a water source into some of these buckets that they told you to have. You know what I'm saying? So that's an important thing. Could make a job a little bit easier for you as far as being able to get to some fresh water in the event of a fallout. So man, just wanted to go over those number one priorities and get y'all's minds to rolling, get you in gear to go out and start, taking a little bit of money here and there and making sure you got these supplies. And these are the number one items out the Latter-day Saints preparedness manual. So that's a good place to start. I like to try to get the first priority items first, and then of course moved on down that list. So we'll go into this stuff more in depth in the coming videos. But man, as always, man, it's a pleasure having y'all tune in, man. Definitely share this video with somebody, man, because this is important. This ain't just no we ain't just covering entertainment or just some entertaining lighter subjects. This is some real deal shit, man. This is something you definitely gonna wish you knew if you didn't know it prior to some shit happening. And it never hurts to be prepared. Even if nothing ever happens, you won't be mad that you have these tools at your disposal. So it's really a win-win. It's no losses in this type of information. So definitely go ahead and share. Definitely subscribe if you're not subscribed already, man. Join the League of Shadows, man, because we the chosen ones. You feel me? Contrary to popular belief. You know what I'm saying? But as always, man, it's a pleasure having y'all tune in. It's peace and love and light, wisdom and insight, DOA, putting shit together. To the next episode, y'all. Peace.